What up? It's your boy Taylor Bennet, and I just skipped class with the progress report. Let's get it.
The progress report.
Well, welcome to the platform. This is another episode of Skipping Class presented by the Progress Report. I got Taylor Bennet in the building.
What's
Welcome.
up?
I am so excited for this because I love your energy, and
thank you.
I really enjoy doing my research on you and just learning more about you. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
definitely. So thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you and your team.
Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. So I know you are from Chicago, but can
Yeah.
you tell us what was it really like from your experience growing up in Chicago? Because I visited several times, and of course we hear these different stories. But from your perspective, what was it like for you?
I was just having this discussion. I think not too long ago. Anything, and I'm sure you know this, that you see like on news, it's kind of like propaganda because it's monetized. People make money off of it, so it's like clicks or it's headlines, and that's how they sell papers and ads and stuff like that. So one, I don't think it's as crazy as the news makes it seem. For me, growing up in Chicago, it is an extremely segregated city. It's probably like one of the most segregated cities in America, definitely that I've ever been in my life, where there's different communities in, very, very separate areas, and all the resources are also clearly like deciphered or siphoned like based off that. So you'll have like the South Side that looks totally different from the West Side, the West Side that looks totally different from the North Side. But one thing that has done, although I don't think it's a great thing at all, is that it's kept the culture very crisp. So it's like in these different areas, culture, backgrounds, Pilsen, Logan Square, Humboldt Park, like they have some of the most authentic, things that resonate with their heritage or their culture. And then, it's the same thing on the South Side and the West Side with soul food. There's restaurants downtown, but it's not like you could just go get, as it is in a lot of other places, you know what I'm saying? But we are moving towards that point. There are a lot of businesses that are expanding and growing and getting, the much owed and due respect, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Sure.
Now, describe yourself as a kid.
Energetic. I was very adventurous. I always wanted to learn stuff, go do stuff. I love outside. I still, clearly, because I said I do. And I've always loved outside. I've always been really active, and not so much in the more recent years, exercising, but as a kid, just, climbing trees, jumping rocks, going to the beach, riding bikes, almost everything, under the sun. When I was a kid, I really wanted to figure out just everything. I wanted to know how things worked. I wanted to know as much as I could. So I was always getting into something. Yeah.
Respect. So at what point did you decide to become an artist?
I think, I want to say I was when I was 12, I knew I wanted to be an artist. I knew I was writing raps, but I think I officially decided I wanted to be an artist when I was 14. Or not even 14, I want to say it was a little bit later in terms of pursuing it as an actual career. I'm not going to go to college. It's a junior in high school, and I had put on this self-promoted show in a 250 capacity venue, and it sold out, and the venue was up the street from my school, and it was on a Friday. So all my teachers were getting out of school, and they were driving past this venue, and it had my name on it, and there was this long line around it. And all the kids, at school saw, of course. So it was just a thing that after that I was I could do this. So yeah.
We want you to come skip class with us and share your story on our new segment called Skipping Class.
Look, we want to talk to all the artists, indie or mainstream, or if you're an entrepreneur, come build your brand with us and tell your story to the world.
You'll also get the shot in our locker, and you'll get promo clips for all your fans. So DM us today or visit our website, tprmediagroup.com. Get locked in with us.
Okay. And who would you say were some musical influences for you and just some people that you came up listening to?
I came up listening to so many different people. I love Queen, I love the Smiths, Sam Cooke, Cruising by Smokey Robinson is one of my favorite songs, Diana Ross, and just, wow, don't even get me started. I love John Mayer, John Legend, of course, like hip hop, like Souls of Mischief, of course, like Kanye, Jay-Z, Common. Twista was the artist that made me want to rap. He had this song called, I think it's called Hopeful, or Hope, featuring Faith Evans that he did, and I loved it because he's from the west side of Chicago, super inspirational. But yeah, just a lot of, right now I'm listening to like Tizo Touchdown, that's like one of my favorite artists. He's super dope. I love, and have been listening to them for a while, Lil Got It, super fire, Atlanta artist, Lil Yachty. We've done some records, he's a super dope artist. I've been listening to Dominic Fike a lot lately as well. Baby Keem a lot. Kenny Mason, he's this amazing artist. He's really, really good. Toby Lou, there's this artist named Toby Lou. He's super talented. He's really, really good too. It's like a lot of different people I've been listening to lately. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now going back to your music though, how would you say that your lyrical and vocal, compatibility has like changed since your first project and first mixtape was that 2013?
Yeah.
To like now?
I think it's changed like a lot, I think one thing that I really pride myself on, is being an independent artist, but it's also the creative control of it.
Absolutely.
Where, I spend, in a lot of ways, I see it as maybe like even like a hiatus from making music. And I'll spend like 2 to 3 years instead of actually recording and going in the studio every day and trying to make a hit single, going through life and like experiencing it and, taking time to grow as an artist, writing songs and tracks that don't come out. And I think that, Michael Jackson is an artist that, he'd put out a project and 5 years later he'd drop a music video for a single to a project.
It's crazy.
Because he, one, had the creative control, but it's also about the vision. A lot of times in today's age, there's so much like media and technology that it's hard to digest like full projects and things like that. But it also does kind of open the door for you to just more of expand yourself as a brand. Where it's like Taylor Bennett's song, and it's like, I might not know what album this is from, but I like this song. And that's kind of the game it is anyway nowadays. People, they have singles to boost the project. So it's like, it's interesting, but changed a lot for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you still listen to some of your old music?
Of course. I always listen. I listen to my old music that I've released, and I listen to a lot of my old music that I didn't release.
Of course.
And, it's like a thing where a lot of the songs that I did release when I was younger, I go back to them and I listen to them, and it's almost like a thing where I can see, because you always make a decision with projects, right? And I think the interesting thing about being an artist is that you create a timeline that other people have access to view and say, oh, this is the growth from here to here to here. But there's always, the ability for you to say, I'm gonna go in this direction. And I've had so many times in my career, thank God, that I've just been like, you know what, this is how I feel, I'm gonna do this. And it's very interesting to go back and listen to old records and think, wow, now what if I hadn't gone this direction? Or what if I had stayed straight, more hip hop? Or what I went more of a, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I love listening to my own music.
For sure. And I definitely noticed that with your music is definitely a genre-less type, vibe.
Thank you.
It's definitely different vibes for whatever you're in the mood for.
Yeah.
So speak about this new song, the Fall Short record.
So Fall Short, it's a super dope record. It's really an expressive record. Like, it's really pumped up, you know what I'm saying? And it's like something that makes you feel energized and gets you going. I feel like there's so much music, and I'm not just saying this for hip hop, just in all genres right now that sound very much alike. Like, you change the station, and it's like sometimes the art of making music can just be the disruption in itself. And that's how I feel like this song is. It's like a beautiful piece of art, but it's also something that stands out so much more so than I think a lot of what is hip right now. But it's also just good music, which, there's nothing better than that.
Absolutely. And, you know, for the fans out there, I'm sure everybody know that Chance the Rapper, of course, is your brother.
Of course.
Now, talk about how important is it for you to make your own lane, though? Because I know, you know, you speak about that a lot, but I want to hear from you on our platform. How important is that to you?
It's super important. You know, I think the most important thing, because I have 2 sons now, and I think the most important thing when you are a child or when you are raising your children or just growing up, period, is learning who you are. And that never stops. Like you could be 50, I mean, this is my perspective, but I could be 60 years old and learning something new about myself. I want to be in that space. And I think a lot of times where the sibling thing comes into is when people have opinions based off of other things they've seen, because it's a familiar face doing something. But I think the beauty of that is creating or understanding, and not, for me, I think especially it's creating, finding that narrative, but in front of a lot of other people. So it's almost like a thing where a lot of times people hear my music or see me and they're like, oh, wow, this is dope, but it's different. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And that's like the beauty of it. You know?
Absolutely. So, what was the latest thing that you were most proud of about him? What was that thing?
About my brother?
Yes.
He does a lot of shit, Chance. That's a bunch of stuff that makes me happy all the time. I would be 100. The last thing that he did that made me proud.
Or something that comes to mind. It doesn't have to be the last thing, but.
Well, I think I'll do the last thing because you asked. He does a lot. Oh, we just went, this is like 2 weeks ago. He'd probably be like, you bogus as hell. It took you that long to think about that shit. Like 2 weeks ago, we went, he took me, my kids, my partner, my whole family to North Carolina for this family reunion that we do like every other year, that we go to every other year, but it's every year. And it's just like a super important thing to my mom, but it's also like a great time for us to be able to bond and like be with family and take a break from, you know, all the cameras and all the other stuff. But it did make me proud because it was a thing where, you know, that's my big brother. So whenever I see him, I imagine us being 3 and 5, or, you know. But it's a thing where he's grown into this guy that understands the value of family and relationship and bonding and spending time, almost to the point where I could go on a trip with him and I'm just going for the fun of it or whatever the experience is. But under that, he's like, this is dope for everybody, you know.
Absolutely.
So I'm proud of him. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, and I think that's dope. I think that's one thing I picked up, just, you know, just the sense of family that you guys have.
Yeah.
Just even, you know, with your father, what would you say is one thing that, you know, your father instilled that you instill as a father yourself?
I think hard work, you know, because there's so many different shortcuts in life. And I think one of the first things my dad taught me is that you could try to make shortcuts and take shortcuts your whole life, or you can actually build something. And with my children, a lot of times, because they're still children, so like I'll be like, go get the diaper, or like go, you know what I'm saying, put that back or whatever, and like they'll throw it or they'll do that. And it's like those little things are the things that make a huge difference. So definitely hard work for sure.
Absolutely. Now, going back to music, will you and Chance ever release a joint project?
Yeah, I think one day for sure we'll definitely release a joint project. Yeah, at some point.
Okay, that'll be dope.
For sure, yeah, that'd be fire. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to speak on, I know Dame Dash just recently issued a public apology for leaking that video of, you know, Kanye and Chance. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I actually just met Dame this past weekend. Great guy. I appreciate him. For one, you know, it's one thing to apologize to somebody directly. We could all do that. It's another thing to, you know, actually go to the internet or go to a crowd or go really come into the city of Chicago and apologize to the city. And then also, you know, being independent, you know, I manage my brother and, you know, I run my own career as well. And I've always looked up to Dame and Jay and what they've done. So, you know, he means a lot to the culture. So for him to do that, it was also more of a even, you know, like I said, you never stop learning. And sometimes, you know, we look at people like Dame Dash and Jay-Z and we might think the only thing we can learn from them is how to make $1. But it's like sometimes you could learn respect. You know what I'm saying? And he really taught me something in that moment. And after that, you know, he hung around Chicago. He toured the city. We hung out a lot. We, you know, socialized, did all types of different stuff. But I appreciate it. You know, I think it was really dope for him to do that. I believe him. My brother's still gonna have some conversations, you know, but it's love. Appreciate him, yeah.
For sure. No, I thought that was big. I think, you know, whenever something is made public, to issue a public apologies is
That's
the only
rock,
right thing
because I
to
feel
do.
like a lot of times that don't happen. Like, something happened, they be like, oh, we not gonna.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, no,
Absolutely.
that was real dope, yeah.
Absolutely.
Respect.
I think that's dope, and I was happy to see that. And like you said, I definitely agree. We can definitely learn a lot from people, you know, outside of just making money, but, you know, just other things as well.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I want you to speak on, you know, just finding your confidence. And I think, you know, as you said earlier, like it's an ongoing process to continuously learn yourself.
For sure.
But, you know, talk about for you, at what point did you find your confidence?
I still think a lot of times I have to find my confidence. You know, I find my confidence, unlike I think a lot of people, and maybe I won't even say a lot of people, but I know a lot of people tell me a lot of times, even my dad, is like, you got to step back sometimes and look at what you've done, and you got to see what you've done. But I think, like, I get my confidence less from seeing what I've done and seeing what other people have done in their lives, and not in a comparison way, but I have like a lot of mentors. I like to follow and learn from a lot of people that, again, have been in the industry, been in the business, not even just in the industry, but, you know, just experienced life. Like, and there's different levels of success, because success is about balance. It's not just about money. It's about having the resources, but also having the health, having the wealth, having the, you know, wisdom. And those are things that I like gravitate towards and I kind of look for. So it's like, a lot of times from meeting and having interactions like, you know, the one I had with Dame, or, you know, somebody like Steve Stout, or somebody like my father, like, you know, Kim Bennet, is a thing where seeing them and how they walk in their greatness and understanding their stories and the backgrounds that they've come from, and being able to relate my story to them, even though we got a little bit different technology, there's not much more has changed. We're still walking, you know, the same earth. It gives me confidence, because I do believe that, you know, history tends to repeat itself, and a lot of times it's a thing where, you know, if you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? And I want to know as much as I can, you know, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I wanted to backtrack too. I meant to ask you, how do you balance, you know, your career and also your brother's career though? How do you do that?
I mean, it's a team. Nobody does anything by themselves. So I think like the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things my dad taught me, because he has a history of politics, is building out an organization, having a team. I think a lot of times, you know, of course you have to be at the helm of the ship, you have to make the decisions, but, you know, having a team of 30, 40 people changes, especially when everybody's actually playing their roles. And those aren't just people that are directly under him, but these are like agencies, PR firms, lawyers, bank accountants, like, and then you have like your, you know, small, maybe like 8 to 11 folks that work directly for you, and they all have their same roles. You know, it's about, you know, kind of running it more of a pyramid instead of a straight line across, where everybody kind of has an understanding of the different, again, roles that they play and how we're trying to win. And then in terms of like my business and my industry, it's like a thing where, you know, you can't be an artist and be a businessman. You have to learn how to balance that and how to turn one off and turn one on. And it's not as simple as writing a song and then getting on a call and then talking about doing, you know, splits or whatever branding deal. Is more of a thing where it's like, okay, for these 2 days, I'm dedicating this to making new music. And for these last 3 days of the week, I'm strictly business, because to be an artist, you have to be, you know, pretty vulnerable and open. To be business, it's a cold game. And if you really want to bring the best out of you, and that's what I did with this project, is like I took like, you know, like a year or two straight art, straight creativity, and I let the last year and those few months up be the tracking of the, you know, strategy and stuff like that.
No, that's smart, and it makes total sense.
Thank you.
Yes. And you know, that's one of the things that I definitely appreciate about you. Just like I said, just you know, learning about you, just listening to interviews. Of course, Sway is one of my biggest influences, of course.
I love
and I
Sway.
love
He's so raw. He's
amazing,
the amazing dude.
For sure. And I appreciated all of the interviews that you guys did together because
those are those interviews changed my whole life. All those interviews. Yeah.
For sure. For sure. And so I wanted to get into that. I wanted to get into sexuality because I appreciate how vulnerable you are, you know, and I think that helps and can help more people too, just,
for sure.
you know.
Yeah.
So at what point in your life did you realize that you were bisexual?
I don't know if it was like a specific point. I think it was always something that I kind of, felt, you know what I'm saying? But I think for a lack of words, based off the others' opinions around me, sometimes you don't even, and this might sound crazy, but sometimes you don't even think as loud as you would based off the people that are around you. Sometimes your actions are even different based off the people that are around you. So I think that it took a long time for me to actually be confident and understand, you know what I'm saying, what I was going through and learn more about myself. But I think, for my whole life, you know what I'm saying, I've been me.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
How scary was the thought of you coming out, especially as a young, Taylor?
I mean, I was like, so I came out in 2018. I was about to be 21, and like one of the biggest reasons why I came out was because I was about to be 21. And for anybody that's out there that was about to be 21, you know how big of a deal you think that shit is,
right?
And I felt like, and I mean, I'm glad I made the decision. I felt like I had spent so long of my life, really more of living off of other people's opinions than me expressing how I truly felt. And I decided that not only was I going to come out, but I also wasn't going to have a super long, drawn-out conversation, so I just tweeted that shit.
Right.
And, of course, I had the conversations again and again and again from different people, like, is this right? Is this right? Is this right? Is this right? But it was a thing where I was less worried about any music career shit and more of just like anybody else that has come out, my friends and my family and the people that I have to see all the time. Because you can't really run away from fame, but you always got to go home. You know what I'm saying? And once I started to really see the love that I had from my family and understand the people that I've been blessed with to have around me, and then also understand my value and be like, you don't want to fuck with me or you don't want to be cool with me because you feel like this, nigga, fuck you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Period.
That's when I really started to not even just, and that's the beauty of it, be able to express myself as a person, but express myself as an artist.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? As a businessman, and really speak on things that I feel and talk about things that I like, like even my just idea. And I will say that that's something that helped my confidence because it's something where I'm okay being uncomfortable. And I had to learn that that's where I like to be. You know what I'm saying? Is uncomfortable versus like, you know what I'm saying, everything's set out in perfect order and shit. Like, it's like there's nothing to do then. You just sit there. You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
Yeah.
How do you feel about just the representation in television now, just from, bisexual, just gay, just lesbian? It's I think it's becoming more normalized now.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially, I don't know if you are a TV
For
watcher.
sure.
We got P
Yeah, I love
Valley,
TV.
Love Victor, Pose. There's so many different shows.
Yeah, I love, I know a lot of different, I have a lot of different friends that are on Pose, India Moore, Angelica Ross, I was just talking to her, shout out to her, she just got this amazing role in Chicago on Broadway, New York.
Nice, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome, I think it's great. What I love seeing is I love seeing different people that are a reflection or a representation of the culture be able to not just grow within these shows, but also outside of those spaces, grow into the different professions and things that they do, like India Moore, amazing actress, model, Angela Ross, amazing, actress, model, singer, and seeing those dreams and those things come true. Because the truth about it, and I feel like this is such an interesting conversation to have, but it's like a lot of times, I believe this, just my opinion, I think a lot of times in business, and this isn't just the music industry, but especially the music industry, people underestimate the intelligence of African Americans. It's a thing. Like, I think that people think that we are not as smart as we actually are. And I believe that we do know how smart we are. And a lot of times we do kind of get over or get out in different situations. A lot of times they just fuck us because they can. But I feel like in the LGBTQ community, there's this thing where it's like, they're going to monetize, stories. You know what I'm saying? They're going to make money off of whatever it is that is going on that's a representation of our passion. You know what I'm saying? Because God made love, man made money. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people would rather have money than love. We see that shit every day. You know what I'm saying? So as long as they could, they're going to. But again, I think the most beautiful thing of it is the representation and getting to see those different people grow into not just, again, those characters that they're being portrayed as that become famous, which I love, but then also being able to do the things they love that they're talented and blessed to do. You know what I'm saying? It's dope.
Definitely. For sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's dope. I think it's good for conversation, especially. I think, definitely just having friends of all different backgrounds, it kind of helps bring everybody together. So I think it's cool.
Definitely.
So,
thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Now, what would be your advice to, maybe some young people or maybe some older people that's struggling, with their sexuality and just don't know what to do?
I mean, I would say that, like, for anybody that's out there that's struggling with their sexuality, which, I would just say you got to be yourself. Overall, you got to be yourself. You got to figure out an environment. And honestly, I feel like that's the worst way to say it. I hate seeing people say shit like that online. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
But what I think you should do is I think you need to figure out a space where you feel comfortable expressing yourself so you can grow, so you can learn who you are, and so that you can be all that you truly can be. Because if you end up feeling like you can't express yourself based off of the people that surround you, you're never gonna grow. And the craziest thing that you'll find out, and this is the trick, years and years and years later, is most of those motherfuckers never wanted you to grow. You know what I'm saying? So I think it even goes past the sexuality thing. I think anybody that's dealing with mental health, depression, anybody that's going through fucking anything, man, it's not a common thing anymore for people to be dependent or just like, it's almost like people are, oh, that's weird. Figure out, learn yourself. Who are you? You know what I'm saying? Go on journeys, watch videos, you know what I'm saying? Learn about you and not some school shit or whatever they're teaching.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I love that.
Love.
Now I want you to talk about this tour.
Yeah.
And I want you to talk about that, but then also talk too. So I saw, was one of them, was it for free? And it was just like a giveaway?
For sure. So, basically it was like a whole thing. So I'm independent. So my father's my manager and my senior advisor. And I've had this brand, Be Yourself, since 2018. I dropped a project called Be Yourself. It was all about self-expression. And I created these hoodies that were based off the idea that I've never liked wearing like faces or like anybody's name, especially if they're alive, on my shirt. It just feels weird and shit. So when I was thinking about my merchandise, because that project was so self-expressive, I was thinking from a perspective of what I would want. And I didn't know. So what I actually started doing, which is funny, it's a part of, the process, is that I created these hoodies just to promote the project itself that said Be Yourself across the chest. And then my Instagram started going crazy. People were like, when are you gonna drop this? When are you gonna drop this? Ended up dropping a few of them that went crazy, and I realized that the overall idea of the project Be Yourself in 2018 was to expand the environment for people to feel like they could express themselves through album. That's how I felt when I listened to Kanye and all these things as a kid. But then I realized with the merchandise that I could take that somewhere else and that people could actually be like a billboard of positivity walking up to people. Fast forward, we've had a lot of success, and I'm thinking that it's time for me to do my first collaboration with a big brand. And I'm going through all these different lists and all these different people. And one thing that I wanted to make sure that was really important is, what does the brand represent? Because there's a lot of brands that are like, oh, we're doing this now, we're doing this positive stuff now, we're doing this now. But it's like, what is your overall, what's the name of your brand? What does it represent? What are you trying to do? And when we got down to it, it ended up being Champion, the clothing brand, as an option. And I'll tell you multiple reasons why. First thing is that there's almost not like a baby to a grandma that doesn't have a Champion something in their closet. So it's like it transcends age, but then also the name Champion, to champion yourself, right? And I started, me and my dad going back and forth with this idea, and we started to write up a strategy of the Be Yourself, Be a Champion collaboration on merchandise. So shout out to my agency, United Talent Agency. They gave us a connection that we could work through and talk to over at Champion. And we brought them the idea, and we're like, we want to do this line of clothes, but we want it to be mental health and physical health awareness. So they're all like soft, nice crew necks, or like shorts or t-shirts, but or hoodies, but it's all like stuff you can either work out in or like do like 60 pull-ups in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like kind of like the best of both worlds. But in that conversation, it ended up going and going and going from shows to this to that, and then it ended up, and I love this because, and shout out to Champion because they listened to my vision. They knew that I was trying to expand this environment. And they were like, what if we do a show and we do them at colleges, which is our market and your market, where kids are coming of age, which is the new project. But then also we make it free so you can expand this space for people to express themselves for free. And one of the hardest times that people have coming of age at college. And I mean, I couldn't have been more blessed to have the opportunity. It lined up perfectly with the project. And, you know, we executed it and we went for it. But shout out to Champion. You know, they didn't have to support music, independent music. They're in the clothing game. But they're strong and a great brand. And, you know, I stand by them. I appreciate them for standing with me. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So with the latest body of work, now that released in April.
Yep.
Okay.
You're right.
So
Yeah.
what does that project mean to you exactly?
It's super important to me. It's like my project, you know. I'm really having a moment and I'm loving it. I just did Good Morning America, Kelly Clarkson,
Saw
the
that.
Grammy Academy hit me, and it's like I've never done a lot of those looks before. But I believe the reason why I feel so good is because I made this project in a way that I wanted to express myself, but I also wanted to make music with artists and in a way that I grew up and that I love listening to it. And it's dope when you succeed and you're doing something that you love and you know that people are actually loving you and you're experiencing success. So, you know, it's been a trip, man. But yeah.
That's what's up. Now, I have this question I ask all my guests. So the name of
Yeah.
our platform is called The Progress Report. So I want to know, how have you personally progressed lately as a person outside of music?
Outside of music, I've been getting more into, like, cause you know, coming of age, it's like a all genre, you know, kind of mixing, blending process. I've been getting more into rapping again and going back to my roots of like rapping. And I want to say I've been getting better at rapping, which is raw as fuck to me. So
Dope.
I think that's like what I've been improving at. I can't wait to like, you know, actually put out some like rap records. But yeah.
Okay. Tight. So what else you got coming up next?
I'm here for Wild and Out. I got a crazy pool party at Soho in Chicago on
Lit.
Saturday. I got a crazy meet and greet tomorrow in Atlanta. That's gonna be
Nice.
crazy at Closet from 1 to 3. And I think mostly just really working on the deluxe, because we're gonna definitely drop a deluxe of Coming of Age. So we've been talking to a lot of artists and working with a lot of different producers. And I'm excited for people to hear the project in a new way.
Sounds good. Well, I definitely appreciate you for blessing the platform, man. This
Thank
has
you
been
guys,
super
yeah.
dope. So yes, thank you again for your time. Until the next time.
Let's get it.
The Progress Report.